This is why touring too early can create confusion. Every house will pull your attention in a different direction. One has the kitchen, another has the yard, a different one has the location. One house feels newer, while another gives you more space for the money. Without a clear decision framework, you end up liking pieces of different homes but not actually knowing which one fits your life. So, before you schedule showings, make two lists. One list should include the things that would affect your daily life if they were missing. The other list should include the things that would be nice but would not make or break the decision. Maybe you need a certain bedroom count because of your family. That is different from wanting a certain countertop color. Maybe you need a manageable commute. That is different from liking one neighborhood because one house looks cute online. Maybe you need a yard for kids or dogs. That is different from needing the biggest yard in the subdivision. This is not about lowering your standards. It's about knowing which standards actually matter. Because when a strong house hits the market, you may not have weeks to think about it. You need to recognize whether it fits. Now, let's talk about location because this is one of the biggest mistakes first-time buyers make in the Houston Bay area. They search by price first and location second. They can work online for a little while, but it falls apart once you start looking at the real details. You may find a house that looks perfect in photos, but the commute does not work. Another home may be in budget, but the taxes change the payment. A neighborhood may look good online, but it does not match the way you actually live. The Houston area has a lot of different pockets, and they do not all feel the same. Some buyers want access to the water. Other buyers care more about commute. Growing families may prioritize space and layout. First-time buyers often need a payment that leaves room to breathe. And new construction buyers may be comparing builder incentives, neighborhood amenities, timelines, and resale potential. The point is not that one area is better than another. The point is that your search needs to match the life you are trying to build. Before you tour, spend time narrowing the location based on your real routine. Where do you work? How often do you drive there? Where do you spend weekends? Do you need to be close to family? Are you trying to stay closer to the water, closer to Houston, closer to Galveston, or somewhere that gives you more space for the money? Once you answer those questions, your home search becomes much more focused. Here's another thing first-time homebuyers need to hear. The house you like online may not feel the same in person. Photos are marketing. That is not a bad thing, but you need to remember what they are designed to do. Wide-angle lenses can make rooms feel larger. Editing can make lighting look better. A floor plan may feel completely different once you're standing inside the home. And a backyard may look peaceful in photos but feel different when you see the surrounding properties. Use online listings to narrow your options, but use tours to verify what the photos cannot tell you. When you walk through a home, look at how the house lives, not just how it looks. Pay attention to layout, natural light, storage, condition, traffic noise, drainage, neighboring properties, and anything that could cost money after closing. A pretty house can still be the wrong house, and sometimes a house that looks average online makes a lot more sense once you walk through it. Most first-time buyers think the first step is looking at houses. That is usually where the confusion starts because once you walk into a house you love, your emotions get involved fast. You start imagining where the couch would go. You picture your family in the kitchen. You think about the backyard, the holidays, the dog, the extra bedroom, the life you could build there. Then the lender says the payment is higher than you expected. Or the house needs repairs you did not budget for. Or the offer deadline is tomorrow, and now you're trying to make one of the biggest financial decisions of your life while feeling rushed. That is not how I want you buying your first home. Before you tour homes in the Houston area, there are a few things you need to understand first. This is not to scare you out of buying. It is to help you walk into the process with enough clarity that you do not feel like everyone else knows something you do not. And if you are a first-time buyer right now, comment first home below because I want to know how many of you are in that stage where you want to buy, but the process still feels a little blurry. The first thing I want you to do before you tour homes is figure out the payment, not just the price. A lot of buyers start with a price range. They'll say, I'm looking around $350,000, or I think I can go up to $450,000. That's a starting point, but it's not enough. The number that affects your everyday life is the monthly payment. That payment can include principal, interest, property taxes, homeowner's insurance, mortgage insurance if it applies, HOA dues if the home has them, and sometimes flood insurance depending on the property and location. In the Houston Bay Area, two homes can have the exact same purchase price and very different payments. One home may have a higher tax rate, another may have lower taxes but need more work. A newer neighborhood may have an HOA or additional fees. A home closer to the water may bring up insurance questions you need to understand before you fall in love with it. So instead of starting with what price can I afford, I want you to ask, what monthly payment actually feels comfortable? That one question can save you from touring homes that look affordable online but feel completely different once the real numbers are on paper. And this is where buyers get misled all the time. The payment estimate you see on a listing website is not your real budget. It might be useful for a rough idea, but it may not include the correct taxes, insurance, HOA dues, mortgage insurance, or loan details for your specific situation. You need a lender who can run numbers based on the actual home, the actual loan type, and your actual finances. That brings me to the second thing you need to know before you tour. You need to know what a lender actually needs from you. A lot of first-time buyers hear pre-approval and think it is one quick form. Sometimes it starts that way, but a strong pre-approval usually means the lender has looked at your income, credit, debts, assets, and what you can realistically bring to closing. That does not mean you need to be perfect. You don't have to have flawless credit. You do not need to understand every mortgage term before you ask questions. You do not need to have the whole process memorized before you reach out. But you do need to know where you stand before you start falling in love with houses. Imagine this. You tour a house on Saturday. You love it. The kitchen feels right. The yard works. The location makes sense. You can already picture yourself living there. Then you find out offers are due Sunday night. Now you're trying to call a lender, upload documents, understand your payment, compare loan options, and decide whether to write an offer in less than 24 hours. That is too much pressure for a decision this important. It is much better to have the lending conversation before you tour. That way, when the right house comes up, you are not scrambling. You're deciding from a place of clarity. Now, let's talk about something buyers do not always want to hear, but it matters. Your pre-approval amount is not always the amount you should spend. Just because a lender says you qualify for a certain number does not mean that number fits your life. A lender is looking at the financial picture from one angle. You are the one who has to live with the payment every month. You may technically qualify for a higher amount, but what happens when you add groceries, daycare, car repair, student loans, kids' activities, pets, savings, vacations, or just the cost of having a life? I'm not saying this to make you afraid of a mortgage. Buying your first home can be one of the smartest ways to start building equity and creating long-term options. I believe younger buyers should understand that earlier than they often do, because waiting until everything feels perfect can cost you years of opportunity. But there is a difference between buying wisely and buying so tight that every unexpected expense feels like a crisis. Your first home does not have to be your forever home. Sometimes your first home is the stepping stone. It may be the house that helps you build equity, learn what you actually want, and put yourself in a better position for the next move. This is still a win. Before you tour, I want you to separate 3 numbers. The first number is what you qualify for. The second number is what you are comfortable paying every month. The third number is what you are willing and able to bring to closing. Those numbers are connected, but they are not the same thing. You might qualify for more than you want to spend. You might be comfortable with the payment, but still need to understand closing costs. You may have money saved, but the payment at a certain price point still feels too tight. When those three numbers are clear, the entire search becomes easier. You stop guessing. You stop chasing houses that do not fit your situation. You stop wasting weekends touring homes that were never realistic for your budget. And honestly, you protect yourself from a lot of disappointment. Now, let's talk about the money buyers forget about. Most first-time homebuyers think about the down payment. That makes sense because everybody talks about the down payment. But the down payment is only one part of the money conversation. You may also need closing costs, inspection money, appraisal money, option money, earnest money, moving expenses, utility deposits, furniture, appliances, and money for repairs or updates after closing. In Texas, option money and earnest money can come up quickly once your offer is accepted. That surprises a lot of first-time buyers because they assume most of the money is only needed at closing. So before you tour, ask yourself this: if I found the right house this week, do I know what money I would need up front? That does not mean you need a huge amount of cash sitting around before you can ask questions. Different loan programs work differently, and some buyers have options they did not even know existed. The point is that you need to understand your numbers before you're trying to write an offer. If you are watching this and wondering, okay, but how much cash do I actually need? Comment cash to close, because that is a topic I can break down in a separate video. The next thing you need to understand before touring homes is what kind of house actually fits your life. That sounds obvious, but buyers usually start with features instead of lifestyle. They want 4 bedrooms, a big backyard, an updated kitchen, a home office, a certain garage size, or a certain type of neighborhood. Those things can matter, but the better question is, how do you live during the week? If your mornings are already hectic, commute and school drop-off may matter more than an extra formal dining room. If you work from home, layout may be more important than having the prettiest kitchen. If you have pets, fencing and flooring may become a bigger deal than you expected. If you want to live near the water, you have to think beyond the view. Maintenance, insurance, access, and lifestyle all matter. If you are considering new construction, you need to decide whether you want something move-in ready or whether you are comfortable waiting through the building process. This is why touring too early can create confusion. Every house will pull your attention in a different direction. You might be asking, so when am I actually ready to tour? You are ready when you can answer these questions without guessing. What monthly payment feels comfortable? What price range lines up with that payment? What money would you need up front if you were to write an offer? And which locations actually fit your life? Which features are real needs and which ones are just nice extras? If your answers are still fuzzy, that does not mean you're actually doing anything wrong. It just means the next step may not be a showing yet. The next step may be a buyer consultation, a lender conversation, a strategy call where you map out the process before spending your weekends walking through houses. This is not slowing you down. It is protecting your time. Now, I want to talk to the buyer who feels behind. Maybe your friends already bought homes. Maybe prices feel like they keep moving. Maybe you are wondering whether you waited too long. And maybe you're renting right now and tired of feeling like your money disappears every month. That frustration is real, but rushing into the wrong house will not fix it. A better move is to get educated, get prepared, and then move with confidence when the right opportunity shows up. First-time buyers are not expected to know everything. You do not buy houses every day. You're not supposed to automatically understand contracts, lending, inspections, taxes, insurance, appraisals, negotiations, and timelines before you have even done this once. But You do need someone helping you understand what matters, what can wait, and what could become expensive later. This is where guidance matters. Not pressure, not panic, not just opening doors, but actual guidance. Before we wrap this up, I want to make one more thing very clear. You do not have to wait until you feel perfectly ready to ask questions. A lot of buyers hold off because they think they need to fix their credit first, save a certain amount first, or pick an exact city first, or know every detail before reaching out. Sometimes one simple conversation can help you figure out what needs to happen next. Maybe you're closer than you think. You may need 3 months, you may need 6 months, you may need a year. Any of those timelines can work when you know what you are working toward. What creates stress is staying in the dark and trying to piece everything together from online calculators, random advice, and listing photos that do not show the full picture. So, if your goal is to buy your first home in the Houston area, start with clarity. Understand the payment before you chase the price. Talk to a lender before you fall in love with the house. Know your cash to close before you try to write an offer. Choose locations based on your real life, not just what looks good online. Separate what you truly need from what you would simply be nice to have. Then, when you walk into a house, you're not just hoping it works, you will know whether it does. If you are in that first-time buyer stage and you want help figuring out where to start, you can text me. You do not need everything perfectly organized before you reach out. And if this helped you understand the process a little more clearly, subscribe because I'll be sharing more videos on buying, selling, new construction, VA buyers, and what it actually looks like to make a smart move in the Houston area. Drop your biggest first-time buyer question in the comments too. Your question may be exactly what someone else is wondering but hasn't asked yet.